This is the CT6, Cadillac's full-size luxury sedan, which now serves as the flagship model as the CT8 program has been canceled. Next to it, we have the Mercedes S-Class, the standard of excellence in this segment, and a car that's been constantly refined since its original release in 1972. Now, in a way, this isn't the most fair comparison. The CT6 starts at $53,000 and can be optioned up to $89,000. The S-Class, well, it starts at $96,000 and can be optioned up past $160,000. The CT6 falls in an interesting position. It's in between the 5 Series, 7 Series, E-Class, S-Class. It's a foot longer than the E-Class, yet 2 inches shorter than the S-Class. But now, with the destruction of the CT8 program, that's the top-of-the-line Cadillac, and this is the top-of-the-line Mercedes. So let's put them head-to-head and see who comes out on top. The CT6 has an array of engine options, ranging from 265 horsepower to what we have in this car, a 3-liter twin-turbo 6-cylinder, which makes 404 horsepower. There's only one power plant available in the S550. That's a 4.7-liter bi-turbo V8, which makes more power, 450 horsepower and 512 pound-feet of torque. The CT6 is not about power, it's about weight. Extensive use of aluminum means this car is actually almost 1,000 pounds lighter than the S550. It's literally 2/3 of a smart car difference. From an exterior standpoint, they are both great looking cars. The CT6 looks more muscular, the S-Class looks more elegant. They've got two different approaches to the front. The S-Class has swooping horizontal LED running lights, and the CT6 has vertically oriented ones. In the rear, they're both slightly droopy. The S-Class more so, reminds me a bit of Rolls-Royce Bentley styling. From the side, there's no doubt that the CT6 looks a lot more muscular. The CT6 looks good in any trim level. The same is not true for the S550. If you don't opt for the sport package, the front end looks terrible, and there's some really atrocious wheel options for the Mercedes as well. When you get into the Mercedes, you instantly feel the higher quality and why you're paying more money. The design language is infinitely more elegant, it's well thought out, everything is nice to the touch, and it feels much more spacious despite not being much of a bigger car. The CT6 has an 8-speed automatic transmission with steering wheel mounted paddles. 0 to 60 happens in 5.1 seconds. The Mercedes-Benz has a 7-speed automatic with steering wheel mounted paddles and does 0 to 60 in 4.8 seconds. 0.3 second difference, a tune will fix that, and for the price gap, plenty close. Despite having somewhat near the same power in 0 to 60 times, the S550 feels way faster. Part of which is because the S550's engine is a bit underrated, and the absolute gobbles of torque. It throws you back much, much harder than the Cadillac does. Obviously, the interior of the car is incredibly important in a high-end luxury sedan such as this. The CT6 and the S550 go about luxury in very different ways. It's interesting. This is only 2 inches shorter than the S-Class, but the interior space is significantly less. Cadillac decided to put a much deeper trunk, so there's more storage space, but that means that rear legroom suffers for rear passengers. Now, it's not bad in any way, it's just nowhere near as plentiful as the S-Class. Everything feels closer to you in the Cadillac as well. The S-Class feels more open and spacious. This has comfortable leather everywhere, but you feel a little bit more cocooned into the seats. We've got massaging, heated, cooled seats in the front. We've got massaging seats in the rear, dual 10-inch screens in the rear. You can control the massage via the screen, a little joystick on the side. You can even see navigation back there, as well as set radio options. Obviously, you can add rear seat options to the Mercedes as well. It's just more costly. For about $6,000, you can have reclining seats, massage, heated, cooled, and screens. You can even have tables that fold out. You can have a champagne cooler and more. There's an extensive laundry list of options in the Mercedes, but it comes at a premium. Already, the price as tested Mercedes here is $118,000. This is $89,000. So there's almost a $30,000 difference before you even add rear seat stuff. The Mercedes is much more comfortable to drive as well. The suspension setup is softer. Note, these are not sports cars, so they shouldn't be super harsh ride quality wise. But when you put it in sport mode, the air suspension stiffens up to a very large degree, and you've got a much more aggressive handling car. But this thing rides like a cloud compared to even the CT6. It's also a lot more isolated from the road as well. There's less road noise, and when you step on the gas, you've got a nice faint V8 rumble, but it doesn't intrude as well as the CT6's awful sounding V6 does. The materials look very nice in the CT6, but in certain ways they lack in quality. This car was washed just before the review, and when I took a turn really hard, water actually came through the glove box and onto the floor of the passenger seat. When you touch stuff, it creaks a little bit. There's more plastic than inside the S-Class. When you enter the CT6, because it's lighter, they cheaped out on materials a bit. The door handle is very flimsy, and when you close the door, it doesn't have the same nice thunk and the soft closed doors that the S-Class has. Now, that's not to say it doesn't have a plethora of features. You've got a color heads-up display. It's telling me the speed limit right now. This car even has a 34-speaker Panerai sound system by Bose. There's speakers inside the headrests themselves, and when you crank this thing up, because of these 34 speakers, you can actually have a conversation with your passenger with the music turned all the way up without having to raise your voice. The S550 comes standard with a 13-speaker Burmeister system. If you pay $6,400, you get an upgraded 1,540-watt speaker system from Burmeister as well, and that is the best audio system in any car on the market right now. I don't care that Bose has 34 speakers. Burmeister is pure auditory incredibleness. That's the word I'm going to use, incredibleness. I don't care how many speakers Bose has, the 1,540-watt Burmeister system blows it out of the water. The massaging seats in the CT6 are actually a lot more powerful than the Mercedes. You've got more options with the Mercedes, however, it always felt like there should be a more aggressive setting. And the CT6 has a much more easily available button. You just press the button on the left next to the seat controls and it instantly activates the massaging function. And it's more powerful so you can actually feel what's going on. In the S-Class, you have to go into driver settings, you have to scroll through all the display modes, and it takes about 20 seconds to activate the massage, even if you're very comfortable with the system, whereas this is just a click of a button to turn it on and off. I love the way the seats in the S-Class look, a lot more so than on the CT6. That car feels like it borrows seats out of an ATS or a CTS. They feel a little bit too aggressive, although the bolsters aren't very big. It just looks too sporty for what the car is supposed to be. The S-Class has seats that look like no other car in the Mercedes lineup, and I really appreciate that. All the little details inside the S-Class are a lot more elegant than the CT6. Even the locks have a pretty pattern on them and are not your typical black plastic. Just the buttons to control the seat look a lot more sleek. The Burmeister audio system is this gorgeous drilled aluminum piece. Even the air vents look like airplane turbines, and it has a manual clock in the dash. The wood feels a lot nicer. Everything slopes in a beautiful fashion. It is far and away a nicer place to be than the CT6. The rear view mirror is incredibly innovated in this car. It's got cameras in the rear, and it's actually playing a live video on the rear view mirror instead of using glass. You can switch it with this switch here back to normal glass if you want, but you can tell the field of vision is incredibly enhanced with the video. There are some drawbacks to it. When you take a quick glance over at the screen, it takes more time for your eyes to focus on what's going on when it's a digital video display than if it's just a mirror. It's also kind of creepy at first, as it's much more zoomed in. When cars get really close to you, it looks like they're ramming into the rear end of your car. But I do believe that this is the future in terms of all rear view mirrors in cars. It basically eliminates your blind spot. If there's a car to the right of you in your blind spot, you can still see it in the rear view mirror because of the wide angle lens. And I would be shocked if auto manufacturers don't copy what Cadillac is doing. The S-Class has adaptive cruise control and collision avoidance, as does the CT6, but it also has essentially autonomous driving. At below 25 miles an hour, it can lock onto the car in front of you, increase your speed, slow down, but it can also steer the car to track with the vehicle in front of it. At above that speed, up to almost its top speed, it can actually stay within the lanes on the freeway and drive itself. Because of government regulations, every 10 seconds you have to put your hands on the wheel, but you can trick the system by hanging weights or putting some pressure on it, which pretty much can mean you can infinitely autonomous drive on the highway. Handling wise, it still feels like a big car. 3,600 pounds actually isn't all that much, but because of how wide and how long the vehicle is, it does feel pretty massive on the road. You've got 3 different driving modes which can be activated on the center console. We've got Tour, Sport, and Snow and Ice, varying traction control settings. I'm going to leave it in Tour now because this is a comfortable luxury car, not a sports car. The steering wheel is nice leather wrapped, feels great in your hand. It's rather ugly compared to the S550. There's a extensive use of plastic, and it looks like something that should be in a lower end model. The Cadillac offers incredible value in terms of its features. $30,000 less than the Mercedes, yet it offers a lot more. Heads-up display, doesn't have it on the Mercedes as tested. Power rear seats, massaging rear seats, rear screens. It does feel like you get more for your money, but it doesn't feel nearly as refined or luxurious. Something about the way the interior is styled, they tried, but they didn't get it to be beautiful and elegant like the Mercedes. The graphics also look too hip, too like they would be in a brand new Ford Focus, not in a luxury Cadillac. It's a little bit too futuristic. The blues and the reds, the colors aren't quite right. Mercedes has it perfect. Cadillac is almost there. The graphics in the S-Class are a lot nicer than the CT6. Beautiful uses of grays, whites, and black look a lot better than the tacky blues and reds that the Cadillac has. There's incredible graphics. If you go into vehicle settings, the car rolls in. There's awesome animations, stuff that BMW and Mercedes have spent hours and hours of research, and I'm sure they have a whole team dedicated to animations in the multimedia systems and stuff that the Cadillac just doesn't offer. Both cars are very isolated from the road, but interestingly, Cadillac allowed too much engine noise to intrude into the cabin. This is not a good sounding engine. 3-liter twin-turbo 6-cylinder. It's hard to make sound good, but all it is just a bunch of noise. When you punch it, reminds me a bit of a 6-cylinder in a Toyota minivan. In the S-Class, you barely hear anything. There's a slight hint of a V8. It's nothing like the rumble of the AMGs. But in a vehicle like this, if you're gonna have an exhaust note, it's gotta be brilliant. Otherwise, eliminate the sound from intruding into the cabin. Things I love and hate about the CT6. The value is incredible. You're getting so many more features than the S-Class for $30,000 less. You can't beat that. I love the rear view mirror, the digital display. It makes you feel safer, and it is a way of the future. I really like the way it looks. It's very muscular. It seems more athletic on the road than a lot of luxury sedans do. And the vertically oriented LED running lights look really cool as well. Things I don't like about the CT6. They made the trunk too large, which means the rear occupants don't have as much legroom as they could. A lot of the plastics feel really flimsy, especially when opening the door, and the 6-cylinder sounds absolutely terrible and is too loud. To be honest, for the price of the Cadillac, for $89,000, I do believe the vehicle offers the best value and is the best car in its kind of made-up class between a 5 Series and 7 Series, an E and an S. If you have to buy a car, finance, or lease a car right now, if you're looking for the sub $100,000 range, I would say that that is the vehicle to go with if you're looking for a full-size luxury sedan. If you have a bit more to spend, the S-Class does blow it out of the water in terms of refinement and elegance. It's just a nicer place to be. And if you really want to spend some money, of course, you can get bells and whistles that far exceed that offered on the CT6. If you can wait a year or two for your next car purchase, I would hold off and see what the new Mercedes E-Class has to offer. We saw it at the Detroit Auto Show, and essentially it's a miniature S-Class. It has all the bells and whistles. The interior design language is absolutely beautiful, and that's what I would do if I was going to spend that amount of money on a car. But if you need one now, the CT6 is a brilliant luxury sedan and would make you very, very happy. Thanks so much to Jacob Rourke from Les Stanford Chevy and Cadillac for providing us with the CT6. It's there now. Please check it out. I hope you enjoyed this review. Like always, please browse our channel and subscribe. Look forward to seeing you next video.